shade trees in the past, enjoy flowers and public art. We want a town that's beautiful, inviting to visit, and prioritizes green space and tree canopy. We think we could be the other or the better forest city of Oxford County, challenge London. And we do this because we take pride in our community and we want it to be an enjoyable, warm place to live.
Okay. You can go back one, I guess. So that's us. Look, that's a pretty good group. Oh, actually, Trevor's in that photo. Look at that fella. I don't think you were working that day, but this is the majority of the group who get together, and we meet a couple times a year now. It's been nice that we've been coordinating with one of your staff, kind of indirectly on placement for some of our projects and the bench work already. So the tree that's planted there is one of 5. Hopefully you've seen a few of our trees that we planted last summer. Thank you very much, Trevor. So Kat wasn't able to join us, but there's 5 of us that make it up primarily, and then we've got a host of community volunteers that have joined our group as well.
Next. So our group was founded in 2023. Katrina Webb and myself, we're both walkers. I'm always walking my dog around town. Katrina at that time was working from home, and in working from home she would take her lunch breaks and after work to walk around town and walk up to get the mail. And we had started conversations about, how could we make the town look better and feel better and more enjoyable. So we approached you, council, in October 2023 with the idea of doing benches and planters. I think we had to refine our idea and come back to you, and you approved it. So in 2024 we installed 5 benches and 4 planters around town, and we thought that was quite successful. We called that phase 1. Last year we did what we called phase 2. We put 5 trees behind the mailboxes between Main Street and Mechanic Street, and then we added another 6 trees to the park, working with Trevor to identify locations where it would be great to have trees. Each of these trees were either sponsored by a business or a person or a family, and 1 tree was sponsored by council in recognition of your anniversary. We also, working with Derek Webb from Webb Motors, he sponsored and helped us design a watering system. We maintained and watered these trees all last summer, all through the season. We also plan to continue watering those trees and planters all this summer to make sure they have a good start. And that brings us to this year, our 2026 Phase 3 project. Which, next, what we would like to do is add more benches. We think if you're walking along Center Street between Pinkham and Maitland, that's quite a gap there through the park with no place to sit if you're going deep into the park or if you're heading along towards Maitland. We thought we would like to put benches along the street there, installing them in pairs with enough space in between that someone who's in a wheelchair could sit between and take part in the conversation. 2 pairs of these benches would be to the south of the driveway if you look at the diagram, and 2 would be to the north. They'd all be facing the street right at the edge of the sidewalk. So off the sidewalk, so the plow can still go up and down there, but accessible to the sidewalk. Next, please.
Okay, so why benches? That's some nice artwork.
That's our graphics department.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it doesn't come with the white background. Well, we all recognize, especially from Drumbo, and it's just across the road, so you've all seen it, I'm sure. It's a multi-use area, that park, right? So I think we benefit, we mentioned the fall fair, but we also benefit from, summer sports tournaments that are hosted. We've, of course, got the minor soccer. Whether or not they're facing the street, facing the park, it's kind of open to, the entirety of the group, I guess, on how they get installed. But you can definitely benefit throughout the course of the entire year, both the walking traffic in town, and then I think like our leisure or our active groups that organize or are scheduled or otherwise to use that park. And then ultimately, the fall fair on behalf of the Ag Society, of course. That's the central hub for the weekend fair. I think ultimately benches are a great memoriam, but they're also a good place to celebrate community. So we've seen sponsors from both sides in the past in memoriam, and then there's also some good deep roots in the community. I think that's the biggest reason why benches so far. Yeah. We'll go next to finish it off. So how can you help us?
So we're here today. We've worked with Trevor on locations already, so that's been kind of worked out. We're here to ask if council can help us in two ways. One being the bench and plaque cost will be paid for entirely by the sponsor of the bench. So whoever, if it's a company or a family, they'll pay for the bench and the plaque. We're a small organization. We have just a few funds in our account that pay for the plants every year that we use for the planters. And we don't have a major fundraising machine like the auction of the Lions Club or the elimination draw or the fair or the museum's trivia night. So we wondered if you could help us out with some of the work. Trevor's already approved the location, so we're asking council if it's kind of like what you did with the Lions Club, if you would take the donations from the people applying to sponsor a bench and issue a tax receipt. We're not a charitable organization, can't issue a tax receipt, and then hold the money for the project and then settle our accounts when it's all over. Our second ask is, would you be able to help us with the 3 cement pads for the 6 benches? You did that last time for the first phase 1 benches. We really appreciate that help. Took a lot of pressure off us to do further fundraising, and we wondered whether you could help with that. So we're looking for approval for the benches, for the whole project overall. Could you help us just with receiving donations, and can you help us with the cost?
Mm-hmm. And I think from cost control, so we're, as you mentioned, we have limited funds, so we rely on the local volunteers to water all of our plants and our trees with our little car setup. For these years, they're hand-to-mouth financed, right? So unfortunately, we come up with a cost, we issue a cost to a sponsor, and then whatever that cost is, it goes directly to, or whatever sponsorship we receive goes directly to the cost, right? So there's no meat left on the bones afterwards. So as far as de-risking for you all, we could share some of those costs in advance so that any of the flow through wouldn't be at risk of like not covering the cost of the benches necessarily. And I think that was the biggest thing, was just making sure that there's nothing really left over at the end of these projects. So it's just to cover the bare minimum, and then there's no surplus that would be carried or left around.
Because we don't want to overcharge the sponsors.
That's right.
To make them pay for it. Because the benches are quite pricey, but they're, as you've seen, they're good-looking benches.
Yeah.
We're going to use the same model as we did before. The project depends on sponsors. We're aiming for 6. If we don't get 6, if we sell 2, then we'll just do a pad for 2. If we get 4, we'll do a pad for 4. 6 is our max this year.
Okay.
Any questions?
Okay. First, I want to start off by, I'm a longtime Drummond resident, so I'm always in favor of beautification here, but as well in the whole township. But it's nice to see that we have groups all over the township wanting to do that. And they look fantastic. I know I've sponsored a bench up for my parents uptown. So I guess just one comment, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring our treasurer up to maybe answer those 2 questions, because we've already done our budget, so I want to make sure that how we can go about doing that. I spent some time thinking about the benches there. That's actually in my route that I walk every day. So my one thoughts were where the soccer, I know you mentioned it doesn't matter which way they face, but I was thinking where the soccer field is, that those 4 benches face the soccer field, because I think they'll get used there. Because even when they have the fair, they have that piece that's part way up, and I think if those 4 are facing the soccer, I think they'll get used all the time, pretty near every day. And then maybe the other 2 on the other side have them facing the road, so you kind of gives you a little bit of both. So that's just my thoughts on that.
Last time we suggested benches, I think the guy for roads, Jim, had concerns about benches not facing traffic and seeing what's going by. Like a safety issue? Is that a safety issue or not?
The county did it
On Main Street? Okay.
Yeah, I can't see it being, especially because you're going to have some grass, the sidewalk, the boulevard, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
If they could come on a swivel, it would help.
Yeah.
But they don't have that option.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have Denise come up. I'll have her come up here, and then we can kind of. I think you're maybe familiar. I can bring this over if you're not. But the 2 question is. So I know when we did with the Lions Club one especially, it was kind of different because we did part of the funding. So I'm not 100% sure how that would work if we can legally do that. And I'll let you answer.
So if council wishes to have benches and a group is, wanting to help facilitate that, then we certainly can issue tax receipts for donations that are given to the township for items that are being purchased, not for the plaques, which they've already mentioned, like we can't issue tax receipts for plaques because they're like an advertisement. It's not a donation, they're getting something in return.
Okay.
So, but for the value of the bench, we can certainly issue tax receipts, yes.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, so then for the other one, this might be a combo for you and Trevor, because I know Trevor's group poured the pads before, but how, was it just a couple grand or something like that? It wasn't anything?
I think we added a little bit to the sidewalk
Okay.
budget in Public
Right.
Works, but
Yeah. Go ahead, Bruce.
I just have a question. Can you buy those things precast, or you have to pour them in place?
Wait,
Anybody know?
what do you
The
mean?
pad underneath.
Yeah, the concrete pad. Couldn't you
They're-
just build them somewhere? Maybe they already make them, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No,
All you'd have to do is just dig a little, level out a little spot, and then
yeah, I think the reason you want them, the pad and pour it is for somebody doesn't steal them probably is, if they're just sitting there. Unfortunately, if they're not sitting there, they'd have to be anchored somehow, right?
well, that's what the concrete pad is for.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I mean, so that's why the pad, but, so, anyway,
I don't have a number. I can have a quick look. That was in 2024 where we did the,
Yeah, it would have been summer 24.
Yes,
Yes.
summer 24.
okay, I'll have
Yeah.
a quick look.
so is that something we can cover somewhere?
I would think the amount that it was, I don't remember the exact amount, but I think it was probably something that we could
Absorb?
absorb as part of the budget,
Okay.
yes.
Are there any sidewalks in that area maybe that could benefit from a touch-up if we?
Yeah, I don't know
If you were
that.
flexible on where they went, I was just wondering maybe the sidewalks.
Yeah, I think you're gonna wanna keep them in as far as, like,
Yeah.
I think if, and you talk about the safety part, if they were on the west side of the trees, like then that would give that, just on the other side of that tree, like,
Yeah.
that would give a tree buffer there as well. Okay, so I think we kinda got the answer to both of those. Okay, thank you very much. Okay,
Thank you.
okay, so is there anything else from council on, any questions about anything? Counselor Demers?
More a comment than a question. Great report, by the way, same as last time. Like, we really appreciate you, you coming to council with such a professional and well thought out report. We really appreciate that. You sort of fill in a lot of the questions that we might have. I wondered, I think that, I can't remember if I asked this last time. Do you know what the useful life is of the benches? Anytime we introduce an asset into the township, we have to kind of understand, whether it's an operating or capital cost.
Cast iron.
They'll last a long time.
I can't remember what their warranty from the company is or.
I would think the only issue would be the paint. I think they're gonna last a long,
And they're powder coated probably.
I thought they were
right?
aluminum,
Okay,
which, but I can't recall. Maybe they are steel.
powder coated?
Powder
Okay.
coated.
So they're gonna
Yeah.
last a while without having to be
Yeah.
maintained. Is that fair?
Yeah, day-to-day operation.
Yeah.
Day-to-day operation.
Okay.
Luckily, I don't think we salt any of those walking areas.
no,
No.
no, not there.
Yeah.
The sidewalks.
Oh, well, okay.
But if they're in just that little bit, they won't get
They'll
any.
last for a long time.
Yeah.
without Wear and tear. I noticed that some of the Lions ones kind of started to
Faded.
look funky after a while, so that's why I'm asking the question,
Yeah.
if there was gonna be kind of an
Yeah.
annuity created, but
Yeah,
it's Trevor's budget and he seems fine with it, so.
okay. All right, so anything else from council at all? So do we have to give direction in a resolution? I see you're scribbling right now.
Yep, I got one here.
Okay. Everybody's okay?
Great. Be it hereby resolved that the delegation from the Drumbo Beautification Committee regarding the park bench project be received as information, and further that council approves the Drumbo Beautification Committee request as presented, just based on the discussion, taking
Yeah.
liberty. It being noted that costs associated with the concrete pads will be funded through existing operating budgets.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Banbury, second by Councillor Demers. Any comments? Go ahead.
I just want to say thank you for all the work that you're doing in Drumbo. It is beautiful, just as your name says. So keep up the good work. It looks great.
Thank you.
Yep. Looking forward to phase 4.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor? And opposed, if any, and that's carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Our next stream is like a Central Park kind of thing.
Yeah. Hey.
Your phone is vibrating.
Is it?
I can hear it.
Oh, sorry. Here,
I was like, what is
do
that?
that. You know what?
I think it's actually.
Yeah. Oh, was it yours? All right. Okay, we have none, on to our staff reports. If we could have Director Davidson, please. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Here to present a report for January. Another extremely busy month for the fire department. Some key highlights to point out here. Our recruits have started their recruit training, which will go until the end of May with the commencement of the live fire training that they're going to go through. We sent out some invites. Hopefully council can attend April 25th. That's when we'll be at Station 84. They'll be doing the Auto X scenarios there again with their recruits. So you're more than welcome to attend that day. We have received now the funds from the Cancer Prevention Grant, and we're in the midst of putting that into action, and that was from the report earlier before Christmas there, for some decom washers, gloves, balaclavas, those type of ideas. So that's underway. We're pleased to welcome Miles Cruikshank and Miles Pinenberg as the new captains at Station 81. I'm particularly fond of this one. It was 12 years ago I had the pleasure of hiring them as 2 recruits. So, and now to see them both come on as captains, this is a great pleasure. One of our greatest achievements that came to light finally in January was the work on our SOGs, which is our standard operating guidelines and procedures, kind of our roadmap to anything that we do in the fire service. They've been on the shelf, they haven't been updated in a long time, or some weren't even there, so we would go over them. Then we had a SOG committee made up of firefighters. They would review, they would come back a few times back and forth until we put our final stamp on there. There's over 90 SOGs, anything from the way we set up trucks when you get to a scene, how you command a scene, to when you clean your gear, all those type of things. So I'm very proud that this document is in place now. The challenge now is to have the firefighters read it and acknowledge that they have read it and understood it. But we do have a program where it is online. They can read it at their leisure. They click on it, say accept that they read and understand it, and we can carry on. So I'm very proud of that. And plans are underway for our camp. The invitation went out. You'll see a media blast on social media, everything starting March 1st. Informing anybody that is interested, it's the girls' camp this year, that the information night will be April 2nd at Station 83. So invites have gone out to council as well, so hopefully you're able to attend that evening as well. So that's my report for January.
Okay, any questions on the report? Councillor Demers.
Just a quick question about your SOGs.
Yeah.
You'd mentioned that a lot of them hadn't been reviewed in quite a while.
That's
So
correct.
do you have a policy or process in place now that they're prioritized and reviewed every
Every 2 years.
2 years? Okay,
And
great.
firefighters are to review them as well every 2 years. So we've broken it into 4 sections so that it's not just that you have to read the whole book every 2. We break it into 4 sections, so they have 6 months to read section 1 to 3, 4 months or 6 months to read the next. So it's a cycle of 2 years.
It's a cycle.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
That way we don't get behind.
Get
and
behind.
start
Yeah,
all over again.
It's easy to do.
Yep.
Anything else from council? Not seeing anything? I got a comment. I'll wait till we get the comments. Go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that report FC 26-01 be received as information.
Okay, can I get a mover and seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Demers, second by Councillor Young. Any comments? Just one. I just want to make sure you thank the firefighters in Drumbo for their breakfast on Sunday. It was well attended. There was a lot of people there, and it was great as always. I just had somebody, I just happened to think about it when you were speaking, or I would talk to you sooner, but I had somebody ask me that watches online, and they said, when you name a station by a number, they're like, what station is that number? So I just wonder if going forward, you can say the number, but if you say, station 81, Princeton, or whatever, just so we kind of got to know now what the numbers are, but the ones watching at home are like, I have no clue what station number that is. But anyway, other than that,
The theory behind that too, and absolutely,
Yeah.
I can, but the theory behind that is to break down those silos between the stations.
Yeah.
And that we're all one, and that has caught on through our whole department, but definitely it can.
yeah,
it can make
just the ones that don't know that number.
Information night for Camp 85 will be at Plattsville Station.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, all in favor? And opposed, if any? Thank you, Drew.
Yep.
Okay, next is Ray, our Chief Building Official. Welcome, Ray.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Council. If I may, present my report for activities for the month of January. We processed 3 building permits. Of course, with those demolition permits, we are looking forward to further building permits to rebuild the home, so they will be upcoming in the next few months. Of course, if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay, any questions from council? Not seeing any, go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that report CBO 26-02 be received as information.
Okay, can I get a mover and seconder, please? Moved by Councilor Banbury, second by Councilor Young. Any comments? I just got one. Hopefully, these numbers go up. I've sent letters out to every developer in the township, as not just residential, but industrial as well. Hopefully to meet with them and see if we can do something to get things moving forward, so we'll
We've
see.
had so many meetings in the past few
Yeah.
months with developers and people that are interested in properties that are for sale.
Yeah,
I think this year's going to be okay.
yeah. Hopefully I can get a little information out of them, and hopefully we can get things moving along. Okay, all in favor? And opposed, if any? And that's carried. Thank you very much. Okay, and next is Denise, Director of Finance. Welcome, Denise.
Thank you. My first report is in regards to the council grants and subsidies for 2026. The 2026 budget did include $10,000 in funding to support community organizations. We did get 11 applications this year, and I have listed the applications there for council. So, yeah, the budget is $10,000. We have $11,000 in applications, so I will leave it for council just to discuss what they want to do.
Yeah, any comments from council, or questions, I guess, from council? Go ahead, Councilor Banbury.
I recall, through you, Mr. Mayor, last year we had a couple of requests after the fact, after the grants had more or less closed, and which we accommodated. I think that might happen again this year, or that'll be up to the individual requests.
Right, and I think my recommendation was that we consider it complete for the year if council awards the 10,000. In the past, we have allowed groups to apply late when there are still funds in the budget to be used that council could allocate. But at this time, if council allocates up to 10, or even if they choose to allocate 11, then I would request that council consider closing. We not consider any future applications, but that's at council's discretion.
Councilor Young.
This isn't really a question, I guess it's kind of a comment, but it comes back to this 11,000. There's 3 grants in here that are in kind. They're not actually looking for the $1,000, which leads me to two different thoughts. One is that I'm quite happy or comfortable with the 11,000, but it kind of leads me to my second, which I would say in our comment, but I'm going to say it now if that's okay.
Yep, go ahead.
I know we've kind of talked every year about the grants, and kind of how I look at these grants. We all know that our community groups do so much work in our communities. Like, we don't have programmers, we don't have people, we don't do our programming in our communities. It is our community groups that do a lot of well, all of that work, or a lot of that work. So when I look at these grants, I think like, ideally, in my mind, this $1,000 would be given to that community group for a service or an event, to purchase a tangible item that would benefit the community. And so the in-kind space, well, of course, I think it's important. I think that's kind of a separate idea, like a separate function. I kind of think these grants are like to benefit some of the work that people are doing, and then some of those in-kind donations, maybe we could look at in a different light. So we've been kind of exploring how that could look, and Josh had some thoughts on maybe how that could look moving forward. So I'm kind of hopeful that maybe next time we could look at some in-kind donations differently than the grants. So when I look at this 11,000, I'm comfortable because it's not, even if it was all giving out the 1,000, I would say all 11 would be, I'm comfortable with.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I looked at the list of 11, and I didn't see anything that I would, and the other part too is there's two of them that are the 175, it's not going to be next year there, and the same with the 25th anniversary. So those two are like kind of a one-off for this year. So there may be some other ones that come anniversaries next year, I don't know. But I'm personally, I'm okay. Reiterate what you said, Councillor Young, that I'm okay with the 11 of them. I don't know. Councillor Demers.
Yeah, and just to support what Councillor Young was saying, I had a similar thought when I looked at this too, that those in-kind contributions are non-cash. So we really still have funds available if somebody comes to us. It's just, yeah, a different way of looking at it. I would probably feel different if those in-kind resources were being booked solid on a regular basis. Because then, you're applying a different value to them. But if our service clubs and committees and organizations that, are raising funds and introducing programming, et cetera, just asking to use our space, then really, it's, I think it behooves us to come up with a different scenario to handle that stuff. But yeah, like as far as this application goes, I don't know why we wouldn't just, approve all of them.
You look at all these groups, and they're all community volunteer groups. And I've said a million times that without volunteers in our communities, I look at the parks that are here, everything, I would say probably 90% of what's in our park came from some sort of volunteer base somewhere down there where it started. Yes, we put funds into it, but they were all started by a volunteer group, as we had a group here earlier. Yeah, I agree 100%. It's great to see the volunteers in our community, and I hate to see volunteers not want to do it because they can't get at it. So,
through Mr. Mayor, just based on the discussion among council, I guess before we have a motion on the floor, I wonder if it's worthwhile exploring, does council wish to provide that direction to staff right now to explore an in-kind facility rental policy, or I guess policy amendment to the existing policy for future discussion? We could just get that down right now, and then staff could provide a follow-up report.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to move the motion as is, then we could,
Yeah.
Councillor Bambury?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, there was a distinction made between grants to be used for supplying programs and grants for, in kind, for use of facilities to raise funds. I know years ago, for years, Friends of Princeton Park were a little upset because we wouldn't allow them to use the kitchen or the Centennial Hall to raise money that they were just turning over to spend on the park. So I don't know what the rationale was for not doing that, but anyway, it was never done. So that's kind of what this is boiling down to, some of this in-kind stuff. So I think we should maybe re-examine this. And I mean, it's one way of getting around it, I guess. Donate the money, then they pay it back to us, and maybe works better on the books, I don't know.
I think,
Sure to keep track of,
yeah,
perhaps.
I think the one thing, the only thing I think of off the top of my head, we have to be careful, but the in-kind, is that I worry that all of a sudden, every single function that's at our halls or at our parks or at any of our pavilions, what's stopping every single, and I see some members that are, I'm a Lions Club member myself, so I start to sit and think that I think we have to be careful how far we go with in-kind, because if we do, we're going to set a precedent, and we're going to have, I guarantee you, and the reason why, I remember at the time we didn't allow the Friends of the Park in Princeton was exactly for that reason, because you're going to have every group out there say, like I look at, you know, the ball diamond, right? Minor ball's going to come in, or whoever, right? We want to run a function. So I think we need to be careful how far we go with that in kind. I think that's why we left it in this format. Just a thought, because I really, I guarantee you, every function we ever have, they're going to say, I want to rent the hall. Oh, by the way, we want it in kind. So something we better
100%.
be careful with how far we go on that policy.
This might be a good way just to leave it.
Yeah,
This way.
yeah. And we still, like, I mean, our policy says 10,000, but it's still council's decision. If you decide you want to, you know, somebody comes forward in the middle of summer and wants to do it, it's up to us to say, it's nice to have that cap. That's the reason. If we have that cap, and I remember back at the time, we were getting, like, they were coming in like crazy, and that's why we put the cap at 10, so that we didn't have, you know, 40 of them come in a year. And then how do you, if you had, like, I'm just looking at this, all of them are fantastic, I agree with 100%, but if we had 17 or 18 of them, all the same as this, how do we pick 10? Right, if it was all different groups. Now, if it's the same group, then you can say, well, you only get so much. But I just want to make that a little bit, we should just a little be careful how far we go.
Well,
Councillor Young.
And the other side of that is that we could look at funding a staff position that does programming. And I feel like this is maybe a more logical way for us to do that our community groups are doing it. It could cost us far more than our 10,000 grants that we're putting back if we wanted to actually do programming ourselves, but these groups are doing this, so
Yeah.
why not encourage that in our communities? And also, when we look at kind of that safe and well-being that we need to be looking at in our communities, it's important that people have space for belonging, and so it is a fine line, though, I understand that for sure, too. I just want to make sure that it is equitable for everyone and that it is fair, but it's actually accessible, that groups can keep doing the work they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So how do you want to, just maybe direct the CAO to look into it and come back with us with an idea?
Yeah, I think that's,
Future discussion,
Yeah.
be looking for
that
direction
would
from
be the-
council, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I do think that staff can advise us on how to operationally accomplish what we want to, as opposed to us trying to hash out the
Yeah.
details at this table. But yeah, I think it's important.
Yeah.
We could maybe check with other municipalities as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
See what seems to work with us.
Just sort of one more comment on all this too, if we consider sort of I'll call them the main streets, or the main sort of service providers. If we look at the Lions Club, Friends of Princeton Park, the Heritage Societies, the ones that are sort of contributing and doing this level of programming, we could leave it like this, but it would be helpful for them to understand that if they needed space, that they didn't have to pay for it. So having it as a policy for our sort of mainstream service providers, how we define that is really up to staff to help us out with. But kind of knowing at the beginning of the year when our service clubs are doing their own budgeting,
Yeah.
because $500 is a big deal if you're having 3 or 4 or 5 events or whatever the rental fee is.
Like I say, I just remember back, I think it was right near when I got on council, is we had many coming in, and some of them were asking for 10,000, 15,000, and I think it was like, we were in the 40, 50,000 range I'd have to get back and look, but it's a while ago, so we kind of went, where do we draw the line, and that's where we put the cap. And for the first, I think the first few years we had this, we actually had a surplus every year. And now a lot of the groups are coming up with, you know, some of them are the same groups, but they're coming up with new ideas to get things done, which is great. It's all about making our community. Like I say, I think if we don't have a cap somewhere, I think we may go where it never ends. So, Councillor Banbury?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we've had this 10,000 in place for, I don't know how many years now.
Quite a few.
I'm just wondering if we should maybe raise it a couple thousand.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's,
That doesn't mean we're
Yeah.
going to get that many applications, but
Yeah.
if we do get that many applications, it seems, you know,
maybe we'll, that should be a discussion at our budget next year, our next budget.
Yeah,
Yep.
if any of us are here.
Yeah.
If any of us are here, absolutely, absolutely.
we'll be watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be watching.
Did I get a mover in a second already for this?
No, I haven't read it yet.
Okay, you go ahead.
Okay. Be it hereby resolved that report Treasury 26-02 be received as information, and further, that council direct staff as to the allocation of the grant and subsidy funds, so we're approving it as presented, and that the grants and subsidies be considered fully allocated for 2026. And further, that council direct staff to undertake background research and provide a follow-up report on an in-kind facility rental or similar policy for future deliberation.
Okay, can I get a mover in a second, please? Moved by Councillor Young, second by Councillor Demers. Any comments? I think we made lots. All in favor? And opposed if any, and that's carried. Okay, thank you. And your next report.
The next report is in regard to the budget in Ontario Regulation 28409. So the province has indicated that if certain items aren't included in our budget, then we have to at least acknowledge that they're not there. And these items are, let me scroll down here, transfers to reserve, post-employment benefit expenses, which we do have some, and they are included in our budget. Active landfills, which we don't have, so whether we're not required to have that in there. And the other item is to do with amortization, which we don't include in our budget because it's on a cash basis, and but we do show the transfers to reserves, which are greater than what our previous year's amortization was. So we are budgeting to replace those assets. So I just need council's approval of the budget and the acknowledging the regulation.
Okay. Any questions on that at all? No? Go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that report Treasury 26-03 be received as information, and further that the report with respect to Ontario Regulation 284-09 for the budget year of 2026 be adopted.
Okay, can I get a mover in a second, please? Moved by Councillor Banbury, second by Councillor Demers. Any comments? Nope. All in favor? Opposed if any, and that's carried. Thank you, Denise. Okay, our next up is Trevor Bear, our Manager of Community Services. Welcome, Trevor.
Afternoon. Here to do two reports this afternoon. One report is just for grant funding in the budget, in the 2026 budget. We put in $12,000 for the upgrade of the Bright Park. There are a few grants out there that are coming up. We'd like to just get council's permission to apply for the grants for upgrading that park.
Okay, any questions on that at all? No? Okay, can I get a mover, or sorry, get a resolution, please?
Yep. Be it resolved that council authorize staff to apply for available grant opportunities to support upgrades and accessibility improvements to Bright Park with the township's contribution of $12,000 as approved in the 2026 capital budget.
Okay, can I get a mover and seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Demers, second by Councillor Young. Any comments? No? Just always keep looking for that money that's out there. If there's free money, we'll take it anytime. Absolutely. Okay, all in favor? And opposed if any, and that's carried. Thank you, Trevor. And your next one.
Next report is community partnership agreements. We've had two community partnership, two community groups come to us for partnership agreements. This is for Music in the Park in Plattsville and Princeton. These two groups would like to enter into an agreement with us for using the facility for free, and we will help promote their event. and it is a community event. It's a free event for the community. In Princeton Park, they will provide music for an hour on Thursday nights, and in Blattsville Park, they will provide music for 2.5 hours in the park on Thursday night as well. Local musicians come, and so they have done this in the past. So we're just looking to get into a partnership agreement like we have with Early On and VON with these groups, just to provide a free music night out in the park for people. We will sit down with the groups once council gives us direction here, and do a partnership agreement up for the program so they can provide programming for the community. It'll run from May till October. That's when we're looking at, those will be the dates. From a financial consideration, we do have to remit the HST from this portion, so it'll be about $9.20 per event. Okay. So, but other than that, that's, yeah, we'll just do a partnership agreement like we have with the Early On.
Any questions on that report? So I'm just kind of going back to what, I can see her smiling a little bit here. I'm thinking here the same thing. I'm just going back to what Councillor Young mentioned previously, is this really is no different than a grant asking, it's in kind, right? It's really, there's not, I don't know.
They're not
This
raising-
program is only for free events,
Yes.
and whereas the subsidy they can apply for, so those were actually applications for the grant or subsidy, but because they were free events they were offering, we were
I
able to
see.
put them over to this program.
Yeah.
The other ones, if they're charging for admission,
I see what you're saying.
then it's still, they can apply for subsidy, but it doesn't follow the program for the
Okay.
that has for
And
Okay.
in our booking policy, we did address free programming.
Yeah.
And like I said, they have to provide the program for free for people to come to.
Yeah.
And just like the VON does and the Early On does. So it's
That makes sense. I think all of us were thinking the same thing, but I'm glad you straightened that out. That's perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, anything else from council? Okay, go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that Report Community Services 26-04 be received as information, and further that council directs staff to enter into a partnership agreement with the identified community organizations to host free music in the park events at the Plattsville and Princeton pavilions for the upcoming summer season, and further that the Community Services Department be authorized to finalize agreement details consistent with relevant township policies.
Okay, can I get a mover and seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Banbury, second by Councillor Young. Any comments? All in favor? And opposed, if any, and that's carried. Okay, thank you, Trevor. Okay, reports from council members. Anybody have anything? I have one that I can think of. So, as we all know, the railway crossing, the CP rail crossing in Princeton is absolutely horrendous. I have been trying to get something done. I've been promised it was going to be done, I think it was November, by the end of November. That didn't happen. I met the representative at Roma, as I mentioned at a previous meeting. Yep, I'll get somebody on it. We'll look into it. Same old. It just seems like nothing's been done at all. I've also had the postmaster in Princeton contact me about some wires that are hanging down. They're not live, but some wires that are hanging down, some pieces on the poles. Same thing, he's getting nowhere. So I went yesterday and took a bunch of pictures again, and I contacted our MP, Arpan, and spoke to him about it. So I'm going to get everything compiled. I'm going to try and get a hold of Jim. I know he's away. See what emails he's sent off. We're going to compile them all. I'm going to send them to him, and he said he will get his staff on it. I guess they've had pretty good luck trying to get things done. So anyway, I just wanted to let council know that we haven't forgot about the railway crossing in Princeton. It's getting worse all the time. I brought up as a safety concern. And it just seems like nothing. I even asked him, I said, go put some cold patch in it, something, just to make it so that you're not going to fly out of your vehicle. Said it was going to be done, nothing's been done, and that's been over a month. And I know we're in the wintertime, the weather, but when it comes to safety there, that's getting really bad. I was gonna ask, Jim's not here today, but I know we asked to have some bump signs put there. There's nothing put there. Actually, I'm gonna write that. I'm gonna actually get a hold of Oxford County and see if we can get some signs put up there for that as well. Councillor Bairnsbury, you look like you wanted to say something, or no?
Well, no, maybe we should have mentioned it at our last meeting when we had the county rep too.
Yeah. I thought of it actually after we left. Yeah.
By the way, you may recall that I mentioned about the deer crossing.
Yep.
It was just exactly a week after that meeting when I was driving into Woodstock in the middle of the morning. There were 3 deer on the right-hand side, just a little east of, well, between Eastwood and Crediteville. And then it was about, I would say 4 or 5 days ago now, about the same time of day I was going by, and there were 5 deer out there.
Yeah.
Weren't big deer, but they were on the north side. They weren't on the road allowance, but they were there, so
Yeah. There's a lot of them around. They'll be starting to move this time of
I
year.
just thought it was a coincidence because I
Yeah.
hadn't seen one for a long time.
Yeah. Okay, anything else?
So that, that's under Transport Canada, right?
Yeah.
Federal? Okay. So our PAN will coordinate with the minister?
Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, he said there was one in Beachville, I believe, and there was a couple other that he's had his staff work on and has been able to get good success with it, but it just seems like, yeah, I'm done hearing that it is so frustrating. We've been after this for, gotta be a year?
Over a year.
Yeah, we've been after it, and nothing seems to be getting done there. I know the Air News contacted them. They were told it was going to be done, I believe, the same by the end of November. I know Oxford County's been contacted them. I believe they were told the same thing all at the same time, and nothing's being done. And if nothing else, on the safety aspect, I feel we should be looking at it's beyond. It's almost.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's really bad. So I just want to let council know that's what, but other than that, I can't think of anything. I mentioned about the Drumbo firefighters breakfast because I love pancakes so well. I went to Princeton last night to the church. They had a good turnout there as well in Princeton. It's good to see these local groups volunteering to get things happening. So that's it. If anybody else has anything? Nope. Okay. No unfinished business, no motions or notice of motions, no new business, and we will now go into closed session.
Be it hereby resolved that council moves into closed session under the authority of Section 239 of the Municipal Act at 4:50 PM to discuss Report CAO 26-06, and this is respecting litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality, and that's Section 239 2E.
Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Demers, second by Councillor Young. All in favor? And opposed, if any? We'll just wait till we're offline and get at it. Oh, sorry. All right, Kate, go ahead.
Be it hereby resolved that council does now adjourn from closed session and resume into open session at 5:08 PM. And reports the following, that council provided direction to staff regarding report CAO 26-06.
Okay, can I move in a second, please? Moved by Counselor Demers, second by Counselor Young. All in favor? Opposed, if any, and that's carried. Okay, and now we're into bylaws.
Be it hereby resolved that the following bylaws be read a first and second time. Bylaw 2533-2026 being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw number 1360-2002 as amended, and bylaw 2534-2026 being a bylaw to adopt the estimates of all sums required for 2026 for township purposes, and bylaw 2535-2026 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council.
Okay, can I get a mover and second, please? Moved by Counselor Demers, second by Counselor Banbury. All in favor? And opposed, if any, and the third reading.
Be it hereby resolved that the following bylaws be read a third and final time. Bylaw 2533-2026, bylaw 2534-2026, and bylaw 2535-2026.
Okay, can I get a mover and seconder? Moved by Counselor Young, second by Counselor Banbury. All in favor? Opposed, if any, and that's carried. Anything under other? Nope. And adjournment to our next meeting.
Whereas business before council has been completed at 5:09 PM, be it hereby resolved that council adjourn to meet again on Wednesday, March 4th, 2026 at 4 PM.
Like the sounds of March. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Counselor Young, second by Counselor Demers. All in favor? And opposed, if any, and